I'm Ben Lawson, aka Tantra Punk, your guide to sexual liberation, healing, and empowerment. As a certified tantric counselor and certified permaculture designer, I'm here to help you grow spiritually, sexually, and ecologically. My online and in-person counseling sessions and training programs are priced to fit any budget. I'm looking forward to helping you design an ever more divine life path. Please send me an email to ben@tantrapunk.com and our journey together will begin. Please go to patreon.com/tantrapunk to sign up and join my community there and get some exclusive benefits. Also, I now have a complete set of all of my podcasts and videos available for a free download, and I call it the Tantra Punk box set. That's available. Just go to the front of my website, tantrapunk.com, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Hello, dear beloveds. Welcome to Tantra Punk Podcast, episode number 290. This is a very exciting episode. I'm being provided a tantric and Vedic astrological chart reading by my new friend online, Arun of arunsyoga.in, and I'm going to have a banner for you to click on the right sidebar of my website so that you can also connect with him and get yourself a reading. I would say that this is my first Vedic astrology reading, and it was mind-blowing to say the least. And we're also going to be working on some exciting future collaborations, so stay tuned for that. I'm also going to do a follow-up episode where we have a conversation about reconciling my understandings of what Tantra is with his 2,000-year legacy of inheritance of tantric wisdom going down generations. So very, very excited to have this new connection, and it is all thanks to the magic of the interwebs connecting. You know, I put out this material, and I'm so grateful to know that there is a demand for the work I'm doing throughout India, and I'm seeing the numbers rise, and I'm seeing the interest rise, and I just pray every day that one or a few or many of the people who are visiting my website are actually going to be real partners in this journey, who are going to step up and want to collaborate and want to work together and increase the love vibration on Earth. So I think we do a lot to add to that vibration in this episode of this sort of demonstration of what his flavor of Vedic and Tantric astrology is like. And I will also say that please forgive me taking a bit of excess in my commentary and explanations. It really has meant a lot to me for him to kind of inspect and interpret my analysis and my perspectives and my understanding, so he can sort of correct me and correct my sort of verbal and intellectual yoga posture, as it were. So I consider him to be the teacher, I'm the student, and I bow down to him and all of the wisdom that he shares and bestows. So hope you enjoy it. Namaste.
So are you excited about it?
I'm very excited. Yes, this is all very, very interesting and very. I'm very curious because I don't really have I have no experience with understanding this, so I'm excited to have you help me understand it.
Okay. For India, the Tantra is actually basically 4 different branches. Okay. One is Tantra Samchayam, as I have said you, like that is including the construction of the temples and the place, meditative place which organize, and the house you organize, and all those things. And the second part is Soundri Lakari, which is being written by Sri Shankaracharya. And the third part is Kama Sutra. So as you might be well good into that. And the fourth part is astrology. Okay, this is the Vedic astrology. So in which we will get to know what all are the energies which is been residing in our body, and how to use those energy in order to get into a transcendental state of existence. Like shamanism, we use some kind of herbs to, shaman will give us some herbs to reach a particular state. Similar way, without any kind of medicines or drugs, we can reach that particular point. uh, because of the conditioning and the social existence which we have. This is the true nature of the human. Actually, the transcendental state, or whatever we say, it is the true nature of the human being. But there are some conditioning because of the society, social issues and things like that. We are not able to reach our true potential. uh, Sometimes they using drugs without the advice of a true shaman or true tantrika. What happens is like the drugs can push you back down. So you have to keep whoever taking the drugs to reach into that particular state, they have to keep taking it again and again in order to stay there. So a
Okay.
true
Can I pause? Can I pause you there? Just so we go take little breaks to see if make sure I'm comprehending. Um, so you said there's four paths of tantra, and if I hear what you're saying now, it's there's like in order to be in a healthy path, a healthy like resonance with the astrological Ayurvedic energies, you have to be mindful and holistic with use of substances, and it's you have to stay sharp. Basically, you have to stay like conditioned. Is that about sounding right?
yeah, exactly.
Following, okay.
So here I have your natal chart. There you can see first thing, when you scroll down to the natal chart section, 12 houses.
Yes, I see the natal chart. See it. There's 12. Let's see. Yeah, 12 numbered uh titles here.
Rectangles.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So one, all the rectangles, each one we call it as houses. There is first house, second house, third house, fourth house, till 12th house. So each house will be having 30-degree each. So the 30-degree into 12, it will come into 360-degree. So in the center is where you stay. I mean, the your soul, which got a body, that stays in your body, and that is that is ready to be expanded to the ultimate through your body. So that is the reason why it is took your body. And while getting the birth, there will be planets will be positioned into this particular part of the sky. If you see into your natal chart, there is in the fourth house there is Venus and Rahu. Then the fifth house there is Sun, Moon, Jupiter, and sixth house there is Mercury, Saturn, and the seventh house there is Mars, and the eighth house there is Ascendant, and the ninth house there is Ascendant, and the 10th house there is Ketu. So ascendant is not a planet. This is the particular time where your soul got contact with the body. So that is the ascendant. Can you see those? Hello?
Yes, I can see that. So if I understand correctly, you're saying that I'm looking at the chart and there's basically 12 squares. It looks kind of like a part of a calendar, and then in the middle um there's a little graphic and some words. And so you're saying, and if I understand correctly, it's almost like if we're if we're taking the indicator being the location and time of birth, then there's like a certain quality or a certain state of the gears of the planets, of the universe, of the stars, the celestial bodies and whatnot. So like a certain measurable, quantifiable sort of state of energy is like directly making a point of contact to the space-time coordinates of my birth time, and then that has a unique I guess anybody else, well, no, because I guess if there were trying to understand this in a somewhat scientific manner, so if there were other babies born in that location, not the exact point, but I guess the vicinity at the same time, we would all have the same chart, or what's the specificity on that? Because I'm just imagining like there's like a what would you explain? How would you explain that? Is there any like scientific? I'm just curious if there's like a way to explain the phenomenon of what exactly is happening the moment. So I'm born in that place and time, and then what is the external world, the universe? What is the process? If you could put it in like a flow chart, or you could make an animation or something. Is there like a beam of light coming from a certain point in the galaxy, or is there like a sort of unfolding from within? It's an astral effect, or is there any way to describe what is happening at that moment? Because it doesn't start in the womb, and it doesn't start later. It starts at that moment. So could you explain anything about how that works?
If I am understanding your question correctly, there is no possibility of the same chart for the two people, because it is not possible to get birth into same place at the same time, because we are taking the what we say it in English, that the lines in the globe, what we call the time, this time divisions,
Right, the longitude.
yeah, latitude and longitude. So this will be different for person to person, and when the time moves, the planet also moves. So there will be two different chart for the two different peoples. Then the
Okay, sorry. Can I ask you one more?
You can see. Sorry.
Can I ask you one more question then, based on that? Which that makes sense to me. Yeah, perfectly. So but one question is, and I don't say this to be a troll per se. I'm not trying to be a troll, but I'm trying to understand like the logic and the math, I guess, of it. Which is so what is what case would be made if there were twins born? Would it be you have to separate it by seconds or minutes, or is it possible to? Is that a circumstance where you could have the same chart if you were twins being born at the same time, or within seconds or minutes?
There will be seconds difference will be there. So two babies can't come out at the same time. Okay, then also from the natal chart we derive bhavam chart, which is 15 degree more and 15 degree less. So which means that we are correcting, there is a kind of birth can be happened. Sometime there will be like some error can happen, human error can happen. So we are correcting it by creating bhavam chart, plus 15 degree and less 15 degree. So this is like half a day, like 15 degree plus and 15 degree less. So we are creating one more chart to correct this human error, and we will figure out what is the most possible cases which a person has to go through his life. Now let us coming to your chart. Your nakshatra is Purva Balguni. So this is the first padam of the Purva Balguni Nakshatra, and your Paksha is Krishna Paksha. So each birth chart will be associated with one tree, one one tree, one bird, then Panja Buddha, one Buddha, like there are Panja Buddhas are there, one Buddha is been associated with that. And uh, uh, so then this sky, then one god will be there for that particular birth uh, birth nakshatra. So there will be almost 7 to 8 datas will be there, which you can read, go through, and understand almost everything from the links which I have provided to you. So in your chart, I can see Purva Balguni, first Padam. Saturn is your prominent energy. So Saturn is as a planet, is that is what the prominent planet which in your nakshatra. I mean the birth chart I can see. So the Saturn energy has a problem. Like it will make you to work very hard. So if you look at on your life, one thing you can see is like there will be a hard working scenarios which you were dragged into, even though you don't want to go through that. There is some kind of push which happens you to uh, push into the hardworking scenario. And so this is something which will happen because of the Saturn's prominent energy, which is being present in your chart. And Venus Venus is staying on the Bindu. Bindu means Venus is mostly the planet which is being associated with the sexual energies, the drugs, and the that is being staying on the fourth house, which is for the Bindu, and along with the Rahu. And so it means that the sexuality which you've been used is actually helping you to avoid. Look at on deep into that, you can see that the way you have started and right now the way you are into, uh, basically you are into a transcendental state where you are capable to transcend the sexual pleasure which you got into wisdom or the understanding as you have started and you started to evolve one by one, and you started to understand there are different dimensions are existing, and you are capable to go through that dimensions, and there are so many secrets staying. Mercury is and Saturn is staying on the sixth house, which is enemy's house. So there is some scenarios which will force you to put into hard work because Saturn is actually staying on the sixth house.
Can we pause there for a second and have and can I recap a little bit on Saturn and Venus? So if I understand, you're saying the Saturn energy has the effect of causing episodes of hard work that is sort of abnormally hard work. I can relate to that. I've certainly had chapters in my life, even long chapters, where I felt like I was pushed to work harder than necessary, and hopefully it made me a better person. But and then also, about the sexuality, you're saying that there's like a transcendental quality of, is that something we might say transmutation, like I have extra sexual alchemy, sexual transmutation power, or is that and just by nature, or could you elaborate on that, and then we'll talk about the relationships?
Yes. So it's dropped in between. So Venus is a friendly planet for you. Okay, that is staying on the friendly house onto you. Bandhu. We call it as Bandhu house. That is a relative. So Venus is a relative to you, which means that the sexuality which you have help you to transcend yourself into something better, and also you could also help others to transcend themselves through sexuality. So this is an inbuilt quality which is residing on you. And Venus along with Rahu is staying on the fourth house, so which means that Rahu is from your Rahu is a planet which is referring to the previous karmas, the karmas which you had on the previous birth. So this is the thing which is helping you to use the sexuality to transcend yourself into more better you. So you have such an immense power that you could use, and you can use that to transcend yourself and help others also to transcend themselves into very more. Maybe you have gone through some karma and all something on the first which is been when you are very young, which is because of your something to do with your sexuality and things like that. But this is because of the past karmas which you had. There is nothing to be worried about that, but this is like a force helps you to reach higher state of spirituality. I'm clear to you?
Yes, that's very compelling, because that would validate and that would validate the path that I'm on of, well, we could say, is it possible to be preset, because your astrology, if what we're talking about is the, well, in the West they say the cards that you're dealt in this lifetime, right? So you're born and you have the cards you're dealt, meaning you may be very attractive, or you may be very smart, or both, or you may be very strong, whatever, but everybody has different cards that they get, and it's supposed to be, well, in that sense it's kind of like, well, it's God or it's random, but in the astrological sense it's like the cards that you're dealt in this lifetime, they were all chosen by karma and the forces interplaying free will, and the gods and the demons and the goddesses, like all these factors are choosing very, very intelligently which cards go into the hand that you're dealt. And by this process we're actually studying the reasons why those cards were dealt the way they were. So one of those cards sounds like you're saying that there was maybe an increased sexual alchemical potency, but that is coming from karmas in a past life, and that's sort of like one of the cards that's that's dealt to me, but it's dealt through karmas of a past life.
Dharma. So ascendant is staying on your dharma house, which is on the ninth house. So what I could say is like you have a special things to be done on the life, because ascendant is on your ninth house. You know?
Okay.
So dharma means dharma. Can you understand that Sanskrit word? Dharma is like it's a duty that which we have assigned in this world to fulfill something.
Yes, I'm
So
familiar.
yeah, so there is what your where your ascendant is staying. So that is you have some kind of duty to be fulfilled or to be given to the the things around you. So this is something which I can see in your chart very clearly. Uh, then Mars is staying on your seventh house. Uh, so the what I can see is like you like intellectual and creative women in as your partners, you know. Uh, so maybe if it is true, you could got some of them, or that is something which can help you to liberate more actually. So if you uh, choose partners, those are more into intellectual capability, and they are more into more brainy kind of girls if you choose, rather than that of the physical structure of the woman. Like when we get love, when we feel love, how do we feel love? By seeing we feel love. So this is something nature is attracting, but the soul, your soul wants somebody who can be more deep, you know. So this kind of woman, if you came into contact with, or if you are going to be let me see what is with Desha. uh, Mars 2011 to 2008. So you might have met a very wonderful woman from the time period of 2011 to 2018. Are you remembering? Hello,
2011
Ben?
to 2018. Yeah, so 2011, 2018. Yeah, honestly, that has been the story of my life. Yeah, I've always been more attracted to intellectuals.
So is there any special woman which is staying in your mind in this time? She can actually help you more deeply.
Well, that's a lovely question. There's I should say no pun intended, there's a constellation of Shaktis who I love dearly, and I call myself a heart gardener. So there's never just one. There's maybe a little bit of a well, they call it an ensemble cast. So in the movie of my life, women are an ensemble cast. There's not one lead role character. So does that make sense? I kind of shuffle whoever's in the best mood and being nice gets my attention, and I chase some of them, and some of them chase me, and I run away from other ones, and other ones run away from me. That's just the nature of life, right?
So this is the, I mean, this is there you might have met a woman. I mean, she can actually help you in more ways, more deeply. And as your Venus is staying on the Bindu house, uh, she this is like she, if you get in contact with her again, somebody who is staying in your mind from the time period of 2011 to 2018, uh, you could talk with her, or she could help you more to something which is, if I feel there is a some energy blockage which I can feel from your presence over the phone inside deep on you, so she can help you to release it completely. you know. If you can't do it also, it's fine. As you evolve on your life, Rahu, then Jupiter comes 2036 almost.
You can sense that there's a blockages in me now, and that if I find the smart lover, then she will be able to help me unblock my energy.
Yes. There is a deep something you feel that can be unlocked by a lover, and that lover you could be met already. That was on the time period, which is March 2011 to 2018. This was the time period.
Okay. All right. So you're saying that there's a woman that I could have met between 2011 and 2018 who has like the keys to unlock my energy.
Yes.
All right. Is cool. All right. I think I have a few suitors in mind. Well, it'd be nice to know it'd be nice to know I can stop looking then. I have to look into I have to go through my phone and just start asking, "Hey, I just got a reading. Are you the one who's going to unblock my energy?" It's like
That you can feel actually. Somebody could be came into your mind. I can look on more clue in that. I can give you a clue. I also use Crowley Tarot. I can pick a card for you and see.
Exciting. Why not? Hey, roll the dice.
Yeah. So I can give you a clue.
Okay. Big bucks, no whammies, as we say in my generation.
Sorry?
Oh, it's just nothing. That's just an old game show joke.
So the cards which are came out is like indolence and oppression. You know, so this is Eight of Cups and Ten of Wands.
Okay. I don't know what to make of that just yet. If I should be elated or deflated.
What I can see, hold on, I'm just focusing. What I can see is sunset and water.
Sunset and water?
Yeah.
Okay. I got plenty of that where I'm at right now.
So this is a clue.
Okay.
Or you have to carry this heaviness till 2036. So it will be organically, it will go out.
I didn't catch that last part. You're saying there was like the date 2036, like 16 years from now?
16, yeah.
And what happens then?
So this blockage will automatically get dissolved.
Wow.
If you want to dissolve it before that emptiness which you feel deep inside, you have to get that woman which you met from 2011 to 2018. One of the lover you had from 2011 to 2018, and the clue is sunset and water.
Wow. Okay. Well, I have something. I have some fantasies brewing in that department, and I definitely want to. I don't want to wait 16 years, so I guess that's the. Yeah, that's. I'm gonna explore that much more. Yeah.
Yeah, you have Venus, which is as a bandhu to you. So you could transcend this energy more deeply. You can do that.
Awesome. Appreciate that so far. It's very interesting.
Uh,
Very exciting.
so as we can see, you have the Shakti power. The Purva Balguni Nakshatra has the power of Shakti. So whatever the reason you made out to be put forth yourself as a Shakti worshipper, that reason will get dissolved in a point of in a particular point of your life, and you will be become the Shakti alone. You know, the feminine part of the is more spiritual term actually. So this is one of the power which is being inbuilt on the Purva Balguni Nakshatra. So this is something which will happen to you. And your yoni is Moshika yoni. I have sent you the sexual posture also for you. This posture can help you to connect more intimately with your lover. So that is there on the link which I have sent you.
Okay,
So
which
there
one
are
is that?
12.
Which link is that?
Purva Balguni Nakshatra. I'll just mail you. 1 second.
Yeah, I think this is exciting for a lot of reasons. I don't think you get assigned an auspicious lovemaking position in a normal astrology reading, or normal as in the normalized current version, as far as I know. So this is exciting.
So the reason is like I have a 2000 years of reading history in my ancestors, you know. So this is exactly the part of Tantra. So Tantra is a science which helps you to have the materialistic pleasure also, as well as the spiritual ecstasy or the spiritual liberation. So this is the only one science which gives you both the thing, like materialistic pleasure as well as the liberation. Like other religions or whatever the other Mohammedan religions and the Christianity says, like uh, uh, sexuality or the things are like it's a sin, but you can't have the God with the money, and you can't have the money and the God together. No, that is something wrong. You can only can do certain kind of spiritual practices when you have only money. Some of practices are not possible also. uh, so this is the Tantra is basically helps you to evolve yourself as a very wealthy person, as well as a very mindful and spiritually evolved person. This is the one of the signs which helps you to reach that certain. So this is the part of that. There is nothing wrong in that.
Right.
The sexual picture which I have shared you will give you more deep intimacy. So your lover also would like to see you to get succeeded. You know.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's very beautiful. So, and I think about this a lot. So you just basically made a very good argument for what's missing. what's missing in the Western culture, where we separate sexuality from spirituality, from health, from medicine, from personal development, intellectual development, emotional development. But really, one of my tantra teachers, who was initiated by an Indian tantric priestess, and he would talk about how everything it really is, it has to go through all the chakras, on all. Another teacher of mine said, all paths lead, basically all paths go through the sexual chakra. You have it, you can't, there's no there's no real way to bypass the second chakra in the plumbing of the chakras for kundalini, for the purpose of circulating the kundalini energy and having the vibrant health and energy. And if you want to go from your root chakra to your crown or your third eye, there's no detour, there's no way to bypass the sex chakra. So if you're messed up there, you're going to have a distorted path, or maybe a blocked path to higher consciousness. And so there's no, any attempt you make, like all these other religions that are anti-sex, they're basically putting all these roadblocks and putting all these road cones and construction signs and all these detour signs, and you get lost and you never find your way to your destination. Whereas in Tantra, the point is that it's like it's a well-defined path, and you're greeted and welcomed through it, and that's part of more of. I would love to hear you talk about, maybe next time, or if you want to a little bit, just talk about the primal Shaktism of indigenous tribal South Asian villagers who have held the tradition of goddess worship and never had any shame about nudity, no question about the lightness of their skin, like no Brahmin, no Sanskrit, no rigid traditions, but they were just sort of, and they still are. I mean, I'd like to hear what you think about it, that there being an unadulterated, uncontaminated indigenous Shaktism that where the energy flows naturally and that was never disrupted by colonialism. Is that fair? Is there places where you could go now and you could walk out and find people who are worshiping? They have not been contaminated by the Abrahamic religious dogmas and rules?
There are 2 to 3 communities which are existing in India. One is Ullalan, those are into Kerala, and there is some kind of tribes that existing in northeast part of India. These are the 2 things I got exposure into. I got a chance to live in these 2 places. And basically what they done is like there will be a center hut, all the people lives surrounding the hut, and what happens is like whenever the woman gets puberty, she goes to this hut and stay there, and the men will come and she will have sex with whoever she likes. So they are actually not shame about what is happening there, because they don't have that kind of consciousness, like sexuality is a sin. That kind of consciousness is not been evolved into those people. And there will be like there is no marriage problem, there is no widower, or there is a son who don't have a father, because everybody don't know who is the father, so
Yes. Oh,
like
but beautiful. They call that shared paternity in in a sexual studies anthropology, they call that sexual or shared paternity. Every father or every man feels responsible for all of the children of the village, and there's nobody who is considered an orphan in that scenario, right?
Yeah, exactly. That kind because the father son consciousness is they don't have. This has been something being created by the society. This kind of consciousness actually. I am
Wow.
the father.
Wow.
So there is two types are existing in still in India. That is in the northeast part of India and the southeast part of India.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is definitely a topic we'll have to explore more deeply on another episode. Because right now I'm looking at the Mushika rat yoni position here, and this is the wildest position I think I've ever seen. And so, gonna have to be uh, practicing some serious. This is, I made a joke. I've told people, and people sometimes they think I'm I'm like a little bit too. What should I say? Well, the people who are very ascetic and pious about asexual yoga, you know, I like to mock them and say that it seems like that the yoga positions that were designed, I mean, the stretching and the flexibility and the holding positions, it's like they say, oh, it's so you can be still by yourself and meditate for longer periods of time without developing body aches because you've done all this calisthenics and you're conditioned. And I imagine that I would want to have all of these all this flexibility and strength and ability to hold postures so that I could have more fulfilling lovemaking sessions, and so that we could be in these lovemaking positions for longer duration because of having, for a male, doing the sexual yoga that allows you to have multiple orgasms and to control the point of ejaculation and not be unconscious about that. So if you can maintain an erection and you can control ejaculation, then and you have done the physical preparation to be able to remain strong and stable in these positions, then you can graduate into a level of adulthood and sexual mastery that I'm seeing here, and I can't wait for the world to see because now it's a foregone conclusion that this auspicious sexual position is going to have to be woven into the tapestry of my the porn videos that I make, the tantric porn. So I think is that wow, you were you are now a co-producer. You're now I don't know if you were I don't know if it's in your chart to be a porn director, but you have to look at your chart again and see if you pull up some porn director astrology.
No, but the thing is like people can have more deep intimacy through sex actually, but the
Yeah.
things will actually is the other way around. So this is a kind of dogma. See, the sex is truly fun, no? It's
Yeah.
really fun actually.
It's playtime for
Yeah.
adults. Can you speak to the your what's your analysis of why and how the forces against freedom of sexuality, what is their logic in your words? And that could be just we could go into a whole nother episode all about that, but I'm just curious if you want to make some commentary since we're on the subject. It's very, the difference, why India is still, or in the tantric tradition, is still holding the innocence and playfulness of sexuality, and then other forces are against that. How would you explain that, why that is?
So basically the wealth is controlling the sexuality because the sexuality will connect you more deeply with somebody else, which may not be welcomed into the family. So family need a sense of safety by looking at on their wealth actually. So this is one of the analysis which I have made. You know.
All
Basically,
right,
the
right.
wealth, yeah,
Yes, I got it.
that,
Yeah, that's very astute, and that's exactly what I believe also in this, which is that if a male patriarch wants to control the lineages of his wealth and have that paternal, or sorry, the patrilineal transmission of wealth, then he wants to control the sexuality of his daughters, because they would make uh, illegitimate heirs to his empire or his capital that he wants to be in control of. So it becomes very political between families, and then hence arranged marriages, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. That's
So
really
this is what.
the
So
essence of it right there. Cool. So could you, in your words, I would love to hear you describe what is going on in this Mushika rat yoni position, because I'm looking at this and I'm reading it and I'm thinking like, wow, I thought I had a wild sexual imagination, and I was underestimating the potential here. So can you describe the position?
so here, the man is laying, and he is holding the woman upside down, and his tongue is on the vagina of the woman. And at the same time, the woman is on the man's cock. So this is a kind of very deep, intimate play where you could uh, have really deep exchange of energy to each other. And but for this, you both of you has to be a yogi,
Yeah.
otherwise everything will fall down.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so I want to describe this in my words. So the most auspicious number is 69, if I dare say, in my worldview. And so what if
um,
you have you heard that, you've heard that expression 69?
yeah, yes.
So basically, for those who can imagine, I have made very explicit triple X hardcore tantric porn in the past. About 10 years ago was my first real professional production, and that is still a well kept secret. I doubt anybody will find that. But but in that we did various some 69 action. And what typically happens, I'd say, is that I'd say typically the male is laying on his back and the female is on top of him, and their head and feet are inverted towards each other, so that you can obviously achieve access mutually to engage in oral pleasure. Now, what I'm seeing in this yogic adaptation is that the male is sitting upright with an erect spine and legs out in front of him, and then basically that it's like you're taking, you know what it is, it's like you're taking the what we would call the normal 69, and you're actually, if that is on the dial of a clock, that would be okay, so basically it's like if you were laying flat together and the male suddenly sat up, embracing the buttocks of his beloved, and sat up, basically getting to a 90-degree angle. So you're at 180 degrees laying flat together in 69, and then the male partner uh, sits up to a 90-degree angle, and the woman is basically lifted up into the air, and she's doing what looks like a headstand. And so what is the yoga posture that is basically what, if the woman was doing this position by herself, what was that? What's is it? There's a name for that position, right? In yoga, there's like an inverted posture, and she's letting her legs spread freely. And wow, yeah,
I don't remember the name for. I mean, I don't remember that name for that particular yoga. This is the. I don't think so. This don't have a position. I mean, this don't have a name actually. This is
okay,
basically there are 12 yonis are there. Okay, every there are 12 yonis means each yoni is being a representation of one animal. Like it starts elephant, horse, mongoose, monkey, like that, a rat. Okay, like that. Some yonis are there. So each yonis has one sexual posture. So this is something which helps them to connect more deeply and intimately. Like so, based on your nakshatra, you can perform this position, and based on woman's nakshatra, you can perform other position. So this will be like both two positions will be there when the sexual act happens.
yeah, wow. Interesting. This is so. I don't want to dwell on this. We can move on, but I definitely feel like the this whole, what you're opening up, which is even, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things obviously that I'm unaware of. So what this is, one of the things is opening up is the notion that that your sexual organs have a deep personality and preferences, and understanding their prerogatives is going to put you in better alignment with other people. And you can basically, it's like you're matchmaking, not from so much, not, as much as you would expect to be dating based on the compatibility of your your tastes of your what you like to eat, the music you like to listen to, the movies you like to watch. Well, it's like if you understand these scripts and patterns for the sexual energy, the sexual, basically the personality of your second chakra, it sounds like, why, how could you avoid getting to know that? And I guess if this helps you to understand that, so that's very interesting. I'm all about it.
So the intimacy will take you to more deeply, you can actually reach the core with the sexuality. So
Yeah,
these practices, yeah, the matchmaking is very important actually. You have some kind of taste in sexuality and your partner has some other kind of taste of sexuality, then there will be no fun can be evolved.
right. Yeah, yeah,
And so
wow,
it will be very drama.
right.
Yeah, we will move to the next part of your chart.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
So when we come to the Navamshan chart, Mercury, Saturn, Mars, Venus, Mercury, Mars. So the four important planets which will affect you is like Venus, Mercury, Saturn, and Mars. So these are the four important planets which is being present in your which is something which will decide the destiny to you. Like the Venus, which is being associated with your sexuality, and the Saturn is associated with the hard parts which will drop into your life, the hard things which will drop into your life, uh, and the and your capability to transcend your sexuality to wisdom. So these are the important things which will guide your life. um, and the you were to reduce the effect of the Saturn. It is being advised to wear a seven muhi rudraksha, which has a seven face. A rudraksha which will having seven face is being advised to wear. So the belief is that it can reduce the bad effect of the Saturn. Also, you can do it through yoga that is called the Nakshatra Yoga, in which you could see in Purva Balguni Nakshatra link. I have shared you. In that, there is a Kriya for Purva Balguni. So there you could see a particular yoga posture which has to be done after Surya Namaskara and Kapalbhati. That is being shared on, I'll share you in another video. And after that, if you practice this particular kriya, this will automatically eliminate the Saturn energy from you. I mean, the bad effect of the Saturn from you, and that can help you to decrease the hardships which is being given to you by the existence.
Okay,
Hello?
so yeah, so basically you're telling me that there's exercises that I can do to optimize and to sort of to correct these issues that are caused by conflicts, basically like resolve these issues with certain postures. And is it like mudras, or what would it be?
Yeah, it's like mudras. Yeah, there are mudras which you can follow to reposition all these energies into proper places. So basically, the Saturn energy will. So what is happening in life actually? Like whatever comes out of the life is basically created by us only. The thought process which which push some triggers, so that will be become like something else after some time, you know. So this
Yeah.
is how the life will evolve. If you can control that thought in the way which you want, so the hardship which you may face in your life can be reduced. So some certain postures will help you to remove uh, those problems that you could see in my video, which is being in Kriya for Purva Balguni Nakshatra. I have shared you already.
Where do I find you're going to show me that later, or you said I can find that somewhere?
It's in my YouTube channel, the
Okay.
yoga poster. This is called Nakshatra Yoga. So there is a process like Surya Namaskar followed with Kapalbhati and followed with a small mantra and followed with a posture for particular nakshatra. So this is called Nakshatra Yoga. So if you practice this well, this will reorder the energies which is residing in you, so that you can have a sharp life, also sharp sexual ejaculation. You know, you could go really deep in sexuality also in this yoga postures as will help you. I mean, the poster which I have shared you for the rat yoni is like something a normal person or an office person can't perform. They have to be like a kind of yogi in order to perform those postures, you know. So this will evolve you as a being like that.
Right. Yes, definitely. This is requires training and practice.
Yeah. So everything require a training and practice. Even the sex also require a training and practice. You know, otherwise it will be like 5 minute, 10 minutes job. You know.
Yeah. They call that a five pump chump. If you that's the joke we use here in the West, Neo Tantra, the five pump chump.
So basically, what happened in that kind of sex is you are actually dosing the energy. Basically, this sex can elevate the energy on everybody, in more higher state. I mean, the higher state is the natural state of the human beings. Because of the other things, we came down to the. There is nothing like higher state. I mean, that is the natural state, organic state of the human being.
Right. Yes. Beautiful.
You want to know anything else from your chart?
There's so much. I think that this is a lot to make one very good, very in-depth podcast episode. We'll consider this to be one very good overview, and unless you have something really important I should know, basically what we've gone over is some of the premises and concepts and the logic and the objective and subjective art and science around the tradition, just very, very basic concepts, basic introduction to very advanced concepts, but helping me develop an appreciation for the art and science and the tradition, and then looking at some of the gifts and some of the issues that I have inherited through karma from past lives, and some of the ways to optimize and clear blockages and work with Shakti and become Shakti, and certainly it's everything. Like, there's everything you said is 100% on point and accurate to my journey. I wouldn't say there's anything that is there's no pun intended. There's nothing that's a stretch. It's all basically very very aligned. So I would say I'm sold as a client. You've got me. I'm very excited to share this. This is something where now, and I don't. You're the first person to. Well, actually, technically, you're the second. You're the second Indian man Vedic astrologer who has piqued my interest in why it's not enough just to go to a yoga studio with your yoga mat and your yoga pants and do some fitness routines. Like, there's such more deep interwoven, interlocking gears of the spiritual technology that you can't just take one gear out of a machine and have it provide really a effective function. The machine is the clockwork of this machinery of the soul and of the mind and of the body and the karmas, and it's like it's all interconnected, and you have to it's a holistic. Yoga is more holistic than it's being presented in the West, even though it's like, oh, it's all mysticism beyond the very practical yoga studio experience. But really, I've been in yoga classes where all they do is tell you how to move your body and breathe. And then I've been in yoga classes where they go very deep into basically what it means to like calibrate your energy to certain almost radio wave like frequencies, and basically make yourself into a optimized radio kind of transceiver for energies coming from all over the cosmos. And if you don't fine tune yourself to what is how it's almost like every radio handset that's sold, there's governing agencies that make sure they have a unique serial number and that they have a certain sort of bandwidth range and whatnot. And it's like all of the electronics and radio and Wi-Fi, Internet of Things, like all of these devices, they have programming that you have to understand, otherwise you can't interoperate with that device. So it's crude as a model as it is for people, who are trying to develop an appreciation for what you're sharing. It's like, well, what if you bought an internet connected device, and there was no manual to configure it. You didn't know what was inside of it, and you couldn't even figure out how to get it to turn on, let alone to connect to anything. And that's your dumbass without Vedic astrology and Tantra. It's like you just open yourself out of this box, and you have no concept of how to understand the pre-configuration and how to customize the settings of your own device that is powered by electricity and is connected through signaling networks all throughout connected to the far reaches of the universe, but you're not configured. And so that's what the yogis developed and the tantrics developed, is like the training methodology to actually understand and then have the ability to configure and not only connect yourself to the divine and to the planets, but to actually connect more deeply and more efficiently with, and more elegant and more deeply, with a lover or with family or community or your farm animals, your plants in a garden, the cycles of nature, that there's a built-in infinite capacity to optimize these relational dynamics. And you just are not going to encounter that in the West, even by going to a yoga class. So like I say, this is there was one other Indian astrologer who I encountered who left an impression on me, and it was actually somebody who was explaining to me that it's possible for like a Devadasi, like a temple dancing priestess, perhaps even a sort of consort, could be astrologically born and pre-configured to be have a voracious appetite for pleasure and to be happy, and she's not a sex slave. She's actually almost volunteering to do the craft that she was born to do. And that there's that's a very interesting precedent. And if you could consider that if you were astrologically proven to be born to be a happy and fulfilled, and that your dharma is to be a very exalted sex worker, that I could imagine there being legal protections. It's like if my dharma astrologically is to be a sex worker, then it's a violation of my dharmic civil rights to make it illegal for me to practice my art, because that's what I'm born and that's what I'm here to do, and there's a reason for it and there's a need for it. So it's a whole nother level of politics to say you should have astral human rights, that this is my calling and you can't prevent me from doing what is astrologically defined. Is that
people are different now. Everybody is different, each one is different. So the only thing which I feel like is as a morality is like whatever you do for your own happiness should not be disturb the other. If it is violating somebody else's something, then that is something immoral. And if you are doing whatever you want to do for your own happiness without disturbing the other, that is good. That will not disturb anybody,
right? Yeah.
So the astrology is like is a blueprint. Like these are the energies are working on you. So if you make these energies more stronger, you can have very in-depth life. This is the tantra is all about. You have to live the life. I mean, everybody has to live the life very deeply and intensively. That is how they can get something out of the life, otherwise the life looks very blank.
Yeah, that is a beautiful point. I say we should end there for now.
So this is like a therapy, like something. If they want to get evolved into the intensive, if somebody want to get evolved into the intensive existence of their life through tantric practices, I mean through true tantric practices, astrology is the gateway. It's like is the opening, is the eye of Veda. That is what it has been said already. This is the eye of Veda. And this is an opening. So if they want to truly and really get into and get connected so deeply, um, they could drop me a mail and I can work on their chart. And it will take almost 3 hours to derive all the data from a chart, and it will take another 2 to 3 hours to explain everything to somebody.
Thank you for listening to the Tantra Punk podcast. Please go to www.tantrapunk.com and click on the donate button to help support the show. In addition to sustaining and improving the podcast, your donations will help establish permaculture goddess temples that provide ecological employment for single mothers. Please subscribe and share your favorite episodes. If you have questions or comments, feel free to leave a voicemail at 818-275-1593 or email ben@tantrapunk.com. Namaste.